Hello and welcome to a screencast tutorial on how to use GIMP to improve your scanned line drawings. Firstly, scan your drawings on a scanner, so make sure that you scan them at RGB or grayscale, not just black and white, and scan them at 600 pixels per inch. Then open up GIMP, which stands for GNU Image Manipulation Program. It's just like Photoshop Elements, but if you're used to using Photoshop, it takes a little while to get used to where the different tools are, but we have the same set of tools. So here's my scan, which is a page of Fine's illustrations, which is probably something like what you will have. Firstly, I'm going to separate each of the Fine's drawings so that when I page them up in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, which is another tutorial available on as a screencast, then I can move the drawings around and reorganize them. So firstly, I'm going to change the mode. So we go to Image Mode and change it to Grayscale. Do not yet change it to Indexed. So if it's at RGB, which means red, green, blue, that's a color mode, change it to Grayscale. And the next thing I'm going to do is crop the image because I've got some white stuff around here which I don't need. So get the crop tool, which looks like a knife, and you can drag an area and then release and then press enter. Now I'm going to zoom in, so I can choose the zoom tool, looks like a magnifying glass, and auto resize window is ticked. If it's not, then tick it, and then you can drag a window on an area that you want to look at in detail. I also want to be able to pan around the page, and if you hold down the space bar on your keyboard, you'll find that you can do that, and then release it and you can pan to a different area. And what I'm looking at is an area with very fine dots close together, because this is the area I want to watch while I'm doing the next maneuver. So the next thing to do is edit the levels. We go to Color and we click on Levels, and what this does, let's move that pane out the way. These are sliders and they remove the grey of the paper essentially, so that we get just black and white pixels. So move the white triangle beyond the little histogram which is on the right. The histogram here indicates the peak, which is the grey of the paper. So move it beyond it and just look at this area here while I'm moving it back and forth. And I'm moving it to the left until the sort of dark grey smudge goes away, but I'm also keeping an eye on the palest of the dots to make sure they don't disappear while I'm doing this. Let's see what happens if I move it too far, so we lose some of the detail. So it's a case of just moving this slider until you've got the right balance of getting rid of grey of paper but retaining dots. And now we take the middle slider and we move that to the right until it meets the little white triangle that we've been playing with. And this just ensures that we have just black and white, no grey in between. So feel free to adjust it again if you need to. And I think now I've got a good setting, so I'm going to click on OK. So another thing I'm going to do is erase any little mistakes, dots or bits of dirt that are on the drawing. And it's a good idea to just, let me get my toolbox on the screen so you can see it. Zoom in closely on things like this little blip here. Oh, where's it gone? I had it on zoom in, so I wanted to, don't know what I was doing there. Zoom out. The navigation window is quite helpful actually in this program, because it doesn't navigate in the same way that Photoshop does, so I find it quite difficult to find my way around the screen. Okay, get the eraser tool and then click on little blips you want to erase. But don't bother erasing things like I'm doing now, because actually what I'm going to do next is crop each of the drawings and save them or export them as individual files. So it's only little bits that are in close proximity to the drawing that you need to erase. And don't go crazy, like zooming in so closely on something like this when you print it. I can't see the drawing itself, I can see these dots. When you print it, you're not going to be able to see the dots anyway because they're so tiny. There's one. I'm very, very zoomed in, and I don't need to be as zoomed in as this. So this navigation window here seems to be the way to navigate around. If you hover over these other windows, then you can you can zoom the ratio, you can reduce the image size and all sorts of things if you want to. I'm just going to zoom in, so I'll click. Oh, I've accidentally rubbed something out. How annoying is that? Okay, edit, undo, eraser. I wonder how many undos we can do. If I do 2 things, can we undo 2 things? Undo eraser, undo eraser? Yes, we can. So that's handy to know. Zoom in a bit, and then zoom to there. So yeah, I'm just checking the drawing close up and removing little mistakes. I can also adjust the size of the sausages. Right, I said that because the blooming program froze. I can adjust the size of the eraser. I can also change its shape. You can erase in a star shape if you really want to, but I don't think you're going to be doing that, are you? Yeah, so if your eraser's too big, then you can make it smaller. Let's make it smaller so I can get into that little shape there. Erase that. But really, the level I'm erasing is a little bit unnecessarily close, because when this is printed, oh, there's a good one, let's get rid of that, that's not meant to be there. When it's printed at the scale you're going to print it at, there's little things that are this tiny that you're not going to notice. But you can just smooth a wobbly edge if you want to, like that. Okay, I'm going to zoom out now, and actually I'm going to go to the next find and zoom in on that. And let's just check around the edges of this drawing that there's nothing we want to get rid of. You will see actually on this one there's some little white marks that we could paint over. Let's see if we can do that. There's a paintbrush, and check it's on black, so the black's forward, current. Just click on that white smudge and make it black. But again, the tiny little white flecks are not going to show when you print them up, because we're looking at a very zoomed in level. Let's go back to the eraser. Let's just smooth that off a little bit. As you can imagine, you can get a bit carried away doing this. The wheel of the mouse does allow you to move around the page as well, so you don't have to just move around using this navigation window. Now I'm going to go up to that artifact drawing, and let's just get rid of that, and let's get rid of that. What else have we got to get rid of? Not a lot. A tiny little wibble there. That's about it. But yeah, these are unnecessarily, I don't need to erase those, because I'm actually going to crop that away. Here's an area where I could do with just filling in a little hole that's missing in the line. So I'm reducing the size of the brush by clicking on the brush size, and then let's just click on that and let's just fill that hole. There we go. Right, now remove these smudges, remove the split. Let's navigate down to that corner, and there's some little blips here, and there's a little mistake there. Let's smooth that off. Let's go up there, check all around the drawing, and we're taking away unwanted marks and filling in missing bits. Okay, I've looked at all these individual drawings now. It's time to make them into separate files. So the way to do this is to draw a selection. Let's just save this file as it is first, because this is a page of cleaned up drawings. So before I save the individual drawings as individual files, I'm going to File and Save As. Let's try Save As. I might have to export it instead, but let's see what format. This is the Save As dialog box, and it's just saying, okay, and save things as these file formats. I'm not sure. Let's see what happens when we export. Export as, and then file options. Well, let's save it as a TIFF, and I'm going to just call this scan1. You can call it whatever you like. And I've put the file extension as TIFF already. Let's just type that again, scan1.tiff. You can have one F or two Fs, I really don't think it matters. And make sure it says TIFF there. Click on export. Save it to where you want to save it to as well, so you might navigate to where the folder you're going to save things to. Then this box comes up, compression. Do I want to compress my TIFF? No, so I'll keep it on there where it says none. Click on export, and it's saved. And now that should have said perhaps the file name we just gave it, but I think the reason it doesn't is because we saved it, we exported it rather than did a save as. But that's okay, I don't mind that. Right, now I'm going to zoom out so that I can see a whole artifact. Take this rectangle select tool, draw around. I'm going to include the small fine number so that I don't forget what it is. But actually afterwards I'm going to crop it off once I've saved it. So I've drawn around that with the rectangular select tool. Now I'm going to go edit and copy, then file, and then create from clipboard. And there we have our individual file. Now I'm going to convert its mode. So we go to image, mode, and go to indexed, and then change it. If it's not on use black and white 1-bit palette, then change it to that. Then click on convert. Now what we're doing here is saving it as a bitmap. In Photoshop and in Photoshop Elements, you can create the same thing by going image mode and then bitmap, but this does the same thing. So an index coloured file in black and white, so that 1-bit palette means there's just black pixels. Where you see white pixels, it's an absence of pixels, they just don't exist. And the reason why this is good is that you end up with a small file size. And when we've got a 900 pixels per inch file, we do want small file sizes to resolve, because otherwise they're going to be huge if we don't save it as a 1-bit palette. The other thing about this bitmap is that on screen it may look jagged and horrible, but when you print it, it's going to look really sharp and amazing if you've done everything as I've suggested. Now I'm clicking on convert. So now this is, here it says indexed color. Now I'm going to export this file. So to export it, go to File and Export As, and you have to actually type in the name. This is one I've done earlier, so it's giving me the same one because I've done a practice. 7438 is the identification number, and then you put .bmp, and then you change, if it's not already on it, then change the file format down here to bitmap, and then click on export. I've already made one, so it's asking if I want to overwrite it. Yes. Now then you get this message. I'm afraid I cannot explain what it means, but I'm going to ignore it, so just say OK, because it still worked. So what it's done, it hasn't changed the name from untitled. It's because we did an export rather than a save as. If you save as from here, just as out of interest, then these are the file formats you get. And let's just see if it'll let me save it as a TIFF. I haven't used this program very often, so it's a bit of an experiment. Lucky for you guys. No, I cannot save it as, so yeah, ignore that last bit. Cancel that. So yes, I've exported a bitmap image, and it's basically a file of 900 pixels per inch. It's just composed of black pixels and an absence of pixels, if that means anything to you. So I'm going to close that one, and do I want to save this? No, I don't, because I've already saved it as an export. So say discard changes if you want. You can save it if you like, I don't think it matters. And then you do the next one exactly the same way. So get this marquee tool, draw around the area you want to save, and then go to edit copy, and then file, and then create from clipboard, and it will make it for you. Image mode indexed, convert. So then you can crop it again. Here's the crop tool. Let's crop it a bit closer, and I'm going to crop out that number, because in the next tutorial in Adobe Illustrator you could type in the number, and there are also scale bars included. Remember that your drawings are all at scale of 2:1, by the way. Okay, so I've drawn around that area, press enter, and it's cropped it. Now I'm going to do the same file, export as. It's defaulted to the last one, and then hopefully you'll remember what your small fine number was. It's actually hiding on the other file behind. This one is 7064. SF7064.bmp. You've got to type that in as well. Make sure it's saving it to the right place, and then click on export. Cannot save indexed image with transparency in bitmap mode format. Alpha channel will be ignored. Okay, whatever. So I know that doesn't matter, that error message, because I've tested these files and I placed them into Adobe Illustrator, and they come out as I expected them to. So that is what you do, and then I'm not going to do it all again, but you can then go to your, let's close that, go to your original file and draw around the other bit of drawing and do the same all over again. So good luck, hopefully that makes sense. If you are tearing your hair out and you can't get on with this, then send me an email and I'll show you what to do. Okay, bye for now.